Parliamentary leaders, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. It is an immense pleasure to join you today at this curtain raiser ceremony for the upcoming Inter-Parliamentary Speakers Conference, ISC, in coming November. Allow me to begin by thanking the Honorable Chairman Senate and the founding Chairman of ISC for hosting this event and for taking the lead in launching the Inter-Parliamentary Speakers Conference, a vision rooted in both timely action and clear purpose. Having seen the title Peace, Security and Development, Mr. Chairman, I must compliment you, for selection of this topic. Without security, there is no peace to me, and without peace and security, there is no development. So it is most appropriate, the theme you have chosen for the upcoming conference. The presence of both Chairman of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly in today's gathering, representing the entirety of Pakistan's Parliament, goes well beyond symbolism. It conveys to our partners that this initiative carries broad-based, cross-institutional and bipartisan endorsement. In today's complex and interconnected world, platforms like these are essential in bringing together parliamentary leaders from across region to engage in dialogue and exchange ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, today humanity faces numerous interlinked crises threatening international peace and security, economic stability, and sustainable development. Long-lasting, unresolved disputes from Kashmir to Palestine continue to pose a threat to regional and international peace and security. There is an increasing tendency towards resorting to unilateralism, bloc politics, and defiance of the UN Charter. We are witnessing the adverse impacts of climate change and climate-induced disasters as we speak. The structural deficiencies in the international financial system are aggravating global inequalities and poverty and undermining our development goals. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in this backdrop, strengthening multilateralism and international cooperation is the imperative of our times. Parliamentary diplomacy in the form of the Inter-Parliamentary Speakers Conference, ISC, can play an important role in this regard by promoting dialogue, mutual respect and engagement. Such initiatives reflect Pakistan's broader foreign policy, which is rooted in the principles of UN Charter, sovereign equality of states, non-interference, right to self-determination, and the peaceful settlement of disputes. This spirit of ISC aligns with Pakistan's commitment to the centrality of the multilateralism in providing a framework for trust building and cooperation, which are essential for lasting peace and development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's election to the United Nations Security Council with resounding international support, 182-5, for the 2 years term, 2025 and 2026, its continued role as a bridge builder in the Council, as well as its various initiatives under its presidency of the Council in July this year, reflect its growing role and importance in the area of international peace and security. Under Pakistan's presidency, the UN Security Council, which I chaired on Pakistan's behalf, unanimously adopted Resolution 2788 on strengthening mechanism for the peaceful settlement of disputes. Now, by the way, this was rare. After a long number of years, a consensus resolution, a unanimous resolution was adopted on 22nd of July in the UN Security Council. Excellencies, you see, we meant to keep working on these lines, and we urge greater use of negotiations, mediation, and resort to regional and sub-regional organization, as well as the good offices of the Secretary General for the peaceful settlement of disputes. With regard to the development challenges being faced by many developing countries, we also continue to urge the need for addressing the vicious cycle of poverty and rising global inequality by reforming the international financial architecture. Only through such reforms can we promote development and global financial equity and equality. We must also address the threat to millions across the world as a result of climate change. As we speak, as Chairman Senate also indicated, that Pakistan is once again facing the ravages of devastating floods that have displaced millions, inflicted colossal human and economic losses, and posed a serious challenges to our recent gains in sustainable development. I owe an apology. I was a little late to join this, and in fact we were having a meeting under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on the ongoing floods disasters in Pakistan. It is unfortunate that despite contributing less than 1% in the global emissions, Pakistan continues to be among the top 10 hardest hit by climate change. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we refuse to remain passive. Through our leadership in climate diplomacy and strong advocacy for climate justice, Pakistan is helping to shape the global conversation on this topic. We are committed to being a voice for the vulnerable and a driver of collective climate action. At the same time, we recognize that economic resilience is a vital pillar of sustainable development. That is why we are actively positioning Pakistan as an investment-friendly destination. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, wearing multiple hats as Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister and Leader of the House in the Senate, I have the privilege of seeing both sides of equation, foreign policy on the one hand and parliamentary consensus on the other. I am sure, and I can assure you as well, that when the executive and the legislative pillars work in harmony, meaningful progress follows. That is why the Inter-Parliamentary Speakers Conference is very significant in my opinion. It brings them together and generates the momentum needed for meaningful action. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today's ceremony is only the beginning. The main conference is in November, will bring even more global voices to the table. I am hopeful that the conversations we start today will develop into strong partnerships and practical outcomes and solutions to achieve peace, security, and development. In closing, I thank all the distinguished participants who are here today with us. I also extend my best wishes to the Honorable Chairman Senate for the successful hosting of the ISC gathering in coming November. I thank you all.